Salve Skipperly, and welcome to day 10 of our distance learning extravaganza. It is a Monday, so happy Monday, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope you guys are staying healthy and, social distancing, all that jazz. But mostly, I care about your well being and I want you guys to be well so I can look at your faces when we go back to school. Woohoo! I do actually miss you guys, so whatever, take that for what it's worth. Today, what we are going to do is we are going to go over the quiz that I asked you to take on Friday, okay, that day 9 quiz on verbs. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go through a translation of Felix, okay, and that was something I had asked you to do and submit for me on Thursday last week. Okay, so those are the two things for today, and then I'm going to give you your homework, and that'll be it for the video, for today at least. Okay, also I've noticed some of you have been handing stuff in kind of late. Can you please not do that? All right, things are a little hectic over here on the teacher's side. Don't listen to what anybody else says. All right, it's crazy trying to maintain all this online stuff. Okay, so just as overwhelming as it is for you, it's just as much overwhelming for us. All right, so I just wanted to level with you and be transparent here. Okay, so we're doing a lot of work and we're hoping that it's helpful for you, but remember, we're doing our best. Okay, so try to get your stuff in on time. That'll help me get the grades out quicker. Okay, otherwise I'm just going back and forth, and that's crazy. And I'm already crazy enough. Woo! All right, so our quiz let's go over it. You don't need my email address because you know it, and you don't need my legal name because you know it. All right, so for this question, it asks you to select the correct endings for the tense indicated on the left. All right, and be aware you have to scroll because there's a lot of columns to fill out. Now, this question requires you to know the charts, okay, the charts with the verb endings on them and which endings belong to which tense. Okay, and so far we know 4 tenses. We know the present, imperfect, future, and the perfect. Okay, so let's go through and categorize it. We'll do it by column. Okay, so T, present, no tense marker. NT, present. I don't see a tense marker. Okay, bomb, I do see a tense marker. It's ba. All right, muss, present. Bas, imperfect. Tis is present. There's no tense marker. Bot is imperfect. Okay, O is present. And vamos, there's a tense marker here, so that's imperfect. All right, moving right along. Okay, S is present. Batis, imperfect. Bunt, okay, bo bis bit bim is bit is bunt, right? That's future. Okay, because remember, imperfect sheep go ba, and future sheep go bo bi bu, right? Okay, so those are your tense indicators there. All right, your tense markers. Now, it is actually perfect. Okay, ist it, imus istis erunt. All right, and there, right next to that is erunt. That's perfect as well. Okay, bimus, it's got a bi, future. Bont has a ba, imperfect. Imus, all right, it looks like present, but it's got an I in it, so that's going to be perfect. Bo is going to be future. All right. E is going to be the perfect. Bis, it's got a bi, future. Bit, it's got a bi, future. Bitis, it's got a bi, future. Isti, it's going to be perfect. And istis is also going to be perfect. Okay, so those are the answers for this question. And now we are going to move on. How many verb systems are there in Latin? There are 2. Okay, only 2 verb systems, all right? The verb systems are the present verb system and the perfect verb system, okay? And remember, each verb system has 3 tenses in it, okay? And we'll go over that. That's one of the questions on this quiz. All right, next question. Write out the 3 steps to conjugating a verb if you wish to conjugate it in the perfect tense. Okay, remember, this is kind of like a 2-step thought process here. All right, I'm asking you to conjugate something in the perfect tense. That means that you need to know that the perfect tense belongs to the perfect verb system. Okay, So the steps for conjugating the verb are a little different here. All right, so step 1, you have to find the third principal part. Okay, then you have to pop off the, where is it? I. Okay? Then step 3, as always, add your appropriate endings. Okay? So those are your steps for the perfect tense. Okay, and remember, if I asked you what the steps were to conjugate in the pluperfect or the future perfect tense, it would be the same as this. All right, find the third principal part, pop off the I, add your endings. Okay, now the next question, okay, is to test whether you know that the imperfect tense belongs to the present system or not. Okay, so if you know that the imperfect tense belongs to the present system, you will know that the steps are to find the infinitive. Okay, that's your whoopsie daisy. Second principal part. All right, and then you're going to pop off your RE, your RE. Then you're going to add, whoopsie daisy, I can't type here, your oh, look at that, auto-populated, okay? All right, so those are the two different types of conjugating that you do, all right, two different step processes. Okay, they're very similar, but they are different. Okay, so you need to be able to make that distinction. Okay, now, moving along here, person refers to who is doing the action of the verb. All right, your options are first, second, or third person. Okay, and remember, I'm number 1, 2 is you, 3 is he, she, or it. Okay, tense refers to when the action of the verb is happening. Remember, tense is time. Okay, tense is time. Tense is when. Okay, when is it happening? Now, later, tomorrow, yesterday? Okay. The imperfect tense in Latin is most like English's incomplete or continuous action. Okay, think of it this way. If perfect means complete, then imperfect means not complete. And if it's not complete, it is, continuously going. All right, so I was running around the house. I could still be running around the house. You don't know that. Okay, you have to get more information. All right, as opposed to saying, I ran around the house. And now it's done. I'm done running around the house. Okay, that's it. Finished. That's perfect. Okay. The next question is similar to the other one where we had to choose the correct options for each row. Okay, so we're going to do this by column. But this question was asking for you to know the difference between person, number, and tense. Okay? So, first person is person. Future perfect is tense. Third person is person. Perfect is tense. Plural is number. Present is tense. Imperfect is tense. Singular, number. Future, tense. Moving along. Pluperfect is tense. Second person is person. Okay, so those are the answers for that question. All right, it's just categorizing, pretty much. All right, the perfect verb system includes which tenses? All right, the perfect verb system includes the perfect tense, the pluperfect tense, and the future perfect tense. Okay? And don't do the opinion questions because I'm the teacher, so whatever. That was more for you, not, well, for you to tell me what you need. All right, the perfect tense in Latin is most like English's, and we talked about this, complete. Okay, but I didn't put that, all right? It's simple past. All right, that's just when you, like I blanked, you blanked, he, she, it blanked, we blanked, y'all blanked, they blanked, right? So the ed at the end. All right. Number refers to how many are doing the action of the verb, okay? So your options are singular or plural. Is it one or more than one? All right, the present verb system includes which tenses? All right, the present verb system, which is the one that we've been using since the beginning of the year, is present, imperfect, and future, okay? So those are the tenses in the present verb system. All right. What do you call the thingy thing that you add the endings onto when conjugating? Okay, this is assuming that you know that when you're conjugating, you're dealing with verbs. Okay, so when you're dealing with verbs and you're conjugating, you have to find first the verb stem before you add your appropriate endings. Okay, and I did mention that a couple times in the video from last week when we were talking about grammar and conjugating verbs. All right, so that's the quiz. If you had any questions about it, email me or whatever, comment on Google Classroom. Just be aware though, the grades for this will be appearing on RenWeb, okay? And just as a heads up, this does need to be said, I'm not going to put the grades on Google Classroom anymore, okay? I do want you to still submit through Google Classroom, okay, or email if Google Classroom fails. But I'm not going to be posting the grades on Google Classroom, okay? It's going to appear on RenWeb. All right, I believe the quarter is ending super, super soon, like this week, I think. So you'll be seeing your grades kind of get updated on the daily. All right, so that's that. Check your grades on RenWeb, as you should be doing and should have been doing all year. Now we're going to move on to our Felix translation. Okay, and remember that's your textbook page 91. I had asked you to translate it last week, okay, after we went through the markup together. Now, something that I think might be helpful for us here is color coding, all right? I used to do it in college, okay, and I also did it in high school, and that kind of helped me to visually see what was going on in the Latin sentence, because, you know, back then, you know, the endings were still, like, tricky for me, and I always had trouble with memorization. Okay, so I needed a way to, you know, look at the sentence and be able to see what's going on without, you know, driving myself too crazy. Okay, so if you notice up at the top right-hand corner of this page, all right, I have a color coding chart here. All right, the nominative case is going to be highlighted in red. Things in the accusative case will be highlighted in orange, and things that are verbs are going to be highlighted in blue. Okay, and as always, prepositional phrases will be circled. Okay, because that's a chunk, that's a unit. All right, and I still did the markup to help us out here and guide our translation. All right, so if you are ready, here we go. Oh, sorry, just needed to breathe for a minute. Okay, so molte Pompeiani in taberna vinum bibebant. All right, so many Pompeians were drinking wine in the shop. Okay, Clemens tabernam intravit. Clemens entered, all right, the shop. All right, subito Clemens clamavit Felix. All right, so suddenly Clemens shouted Felix. Okay. Clemens salutavit laete Felicem. All right, Clemens greeted Felix happily. Okay, Felix erat libertus. Felix was a freedman. All right, so that's our first paragraph here. One thing I do want to draw your attention to is the fact that I am paying close attention to my tenses here. All right, I'm translating imperfects as wasing, wering, and my perfects as the simple past or the completed action. Okay, and now you can see in this particular, part why we need different types of past tense. Okay, it's like the way you would tell a story naturally in English. All right, so many dudes were drinking wine in the shop when Clemens entered the shop. Okay, those are two different tenses, but it kind of indicates like a time spectrum. All right, so like when the action is happening with relation to the setting, with relation to, all the stuff that's going on. All right, so that's why it's important to know and be specific about your tenses here. Okay. All right, so it's almost like imperfect can be thought of as like a narrator's verb tense, and the perfect tense can be thought of as like a, current happening, even though technically it is the past tense. All right, I can explain that better another time. Let's try that again, okay? But moving on here. All right, Clemens invitavit Felicem ad vilam. All right, so Clemens invited Felix to the house. Whose house, might you ask? The house of Caecilius. Okay. Clemens et Felix intraverunt vilam. All right, so Clemens and Felix entered the house. All right, Clemens quaesivit Caecilium et Metellam. All right, so Clemens sought Caecilius and Metella. Caecilius scribebat in tablino. Right. Caecilius was writing in the study. Metella sedebat in horto. Metella was sitting in the garden. Okay? All right, so that's the second bit. You can pause the screen, check your translation as we're going along with this, check your markup. All right, but I'm going to move on to the next page. That's the beauty of YouTube. You can always pause me and be like, yo, Magister, I missed it. I have to go back. Okay? Anyway. Caecilius and Metella festinaverunt ad atrium, et Felicem salutaverunt. Okay, so Caecilius and Metella hurried, all right, because festinaverunt is perfect, hurried to the atrium, the reception room, and they greeted Felix. Okay, because remember, Caecilius and Metella are the subject of festinaverunt and salutaverunt, because there's no new nominative introduced, so you just assume the old one. Okay? Postquam, after, Quintus introited the atrium. Quintus entered the atrium. Okay, there really should be an and here. So we'll insert one because that sounds funny if it doesn't have it. All right, so Quintus entered the atrium, and Felix spectawited the UNM. All right, Felix saw or looked at the youth, the young man. All right. The libertus, the freedman, erat was Walde greatly moved. Okay, now remember, komotos is an adjective, all right, so it's describing the libertus. It's telling you more about him. He was moved, all right, and to be moved means like to be like sentimentally, like the connotation is that like you see a really inspirational movie and it moved you. Okay, that's what people say in English, like it moved me to tears, right? So it influenced me to feel sad or influenced me to feel something, right? So he was greatly moved. Okay, so he felt some great emotion here. Okay. Paine. Okay, wait a second. Sorry, guys. Okay. Sorry, I dropped something. Okay. Now, paine, okay, is almost. So he lacrimabat, he was almost crying. Okay, but he was laughing. All right, that's kind of weird. I guess cry laughing is totally a thing. Yeah, I've done that. Okay, yeah. Cry laughing is totally a thing. All right, tum. Then Clemens festinavit ad culinam. Clemens hurried to the kitchen. Grumio dormiebat in colina. Grumio was sleeping in the kitchen. All right. Clemens excitavit cocon. Clemens woke up the cook, or woke the cook up. We'll just say woke the cook. And the cook told the whole thing. Let's see. No, that's not what we want. Okay, and told the whole story. Okay, I think there should be a period here, actually. All right, the cook, because he was happy, prepared a cenam optimum. He prepared a very good dinner. Okay. All right. So that's our story. Just as a quick side note, okay. Here, because he was happy, that's a subordinate clause. Okay, meaning it needs the main clause to stand. All right, but the cook prepared a very good dinner. Okay, that's your main clause and can stand on its own. All right, so just a side note here. All right, so that's your translation for the story. You do have a homework assignment though. Okay, so your homework for tonight. All right, so right around here. All right, that's, I believe, what line is that in your actual textbook? Okay, that's in line 9. Okay, Felix cry laughs. All right. It's a strange emotional reaction. So please describe the situation. Briefly in English. And give a prediction. Of why Felix, the freedman, reacted this way. Okay, so rather, this is due tonight by 11:59 p.m. Please get your stuff in on time, guys, okay? Now, this particular homework assignment is another part of Latin translation, okay? So yes, you should be able to read a Latin text and, translate it into English. But what you should also be able to do is think about what is actually, like, what is the text actually saying? Like, what's happening in the story? Why might it be important? Think about characters, setting, motive, okay? All that stuff still applies to Latin, all right? It's just a little bit more difficult because we're working with a foreign language here, all right? As opposed to reading an English story and talking about it. That's easier, okay? But Latin has got that extra layer of difficulty. But I still expect that you guys, kind of interpret the text and think about context and think about why things are happening, think about themes, characters, potential motives, all right? So that's another skill that you're going to be working on. So that's it for today's lesson. Please do the homework. Please submit it on Google Classroom by 11:59 p.m. this evening. I hope you guys are well. Can't wait to see you when I do. And I'll talk to you on the flippy side. Walete discipuli.